Hi. This is going to be a bit of a sort of a new style of video that I'm doing. I don't really have a script. Well, I have a script, but it's a lot more bullet points than it is like actual script. I just want to have this be a little bit more casual. I feel like a lot of the time with the like video essays that I do, it's very scripted, very structured, and I want to go about it a little bit differently this time. But I wanted to try this out just to see how it feels and to see what you thought of this as well. Really today I wanted to focus on Reanimal. Reanimal is just amazing. I'm a really big fan of Little Nightmares 1 and 2, and Tarsier Studios, they've just done it again. They've absolutely done it again. They're so consistent with the quality of their games, and I find it kind of astounding actually how good it is, because it's the same level of quality. The quality is so consistently high, but they don't feel the same really. Each one has their own feel to it, which I feel is so impressive to do. And they don't feel repetitive either, which is also a really big surprise. I think they're able to inject such a unique style. Not art style necessarily, the art style is fairly consistent, but such a unique feel to each of the games that it feels so consistently amazing, but so different. And I find that really impressive. And I think it's almost inevitable to compare it to Little Nightmares 1 and 2, but at the same time, I also want to try to see it as its own thing as well. Also, I haven't played Little Nightmares 3, so I can't comment on the quality of the game. All I know is that the reviews are mixed, to say the least. But I'm not really going to be talking about Little Nightmares 3 in this video. I'm not going to be doing a lot of comparisons, just because I haven't played it, and it wouldn't be fair for me to talk about it when I haven't played it at all. Also, there are going to be spoilers for Reanimal throughout this entire video, so just keep that in mind. I would recommend going and playing the game first. It's not too long. I would really recommend playing it because I'm going to be talking about certain spoilers. I'm not going to be going into really in-depth spoilers a lot, but I feel like going into this game completely blind is the best way to go. Like, not even watching the trailers, just sort of going for it, I think is ideal. So yeah, but with all that sort of out the way, let's go on to Reanimal. So Reanimal starts in your sort of like classic Little Nightmares way. Got a strange dream sequence, character wakes up, and you just go for it. You travel around a really bizarre, sort of messed up alternate world. Alternate world in the sense that like there's a lot of familiar places and characters to like our real world, but sort of contorted and disturbed in these ways. And so yeah, it has a very Little Nightmares feel, 100%, even from the get-go. The one main difference, again, and it's kind of in the name of the game, is this focus on animals. Again, not going to go too far into it. The design of this game being predominantly around animals is fascinating, and they've really gone above and beyond when it comes to the character design. Just like I can't sing the praises enough for the character design in this game. It's so disturbing, it's so gross and so visceral as well. What really complements this is the setting as well. This one it has it's a lot more like outdoorsy. It has a lot more of a feel of the very first section of Little Nightmares 2. It's really that. So like Little Nightmares 1, you had the ship. Little Nightmares 2, you had really the city. And then here in Reanimal, it's a lot more like countryside and beaches. And a lot of the emphasis is on water as well. The boat plays a really big part in this game. And it really gives this feel of you're traversing a much greater area. Both of the previous games feel relatively confined, whereas this feels almost endless. It feels that you're going across an entire country, basically, in this whole game. It lends to this idea of there being almost an endless horror here. Like this has consumed an entire world, which, I mean, it has, basically. But I think it's really emphasized by the fact that you're traveling such a distance in this game, which is fascinating as well. What's also more unique is just how many protagonists are in this game, how many of the children that you encounter and that are part of this little group. You know, at first I just thought it was going to be your classic, like, it's you and a companion and that's it. But no, they really go like in a very interesting direction here by having an entire group, and it has a really interesting narrative significance, especially when you get towards sort of the end of the game. Everything about this game, everything about the design is so well done, is so perfect. They know how to make these kinds of games. They're masters at it at this point, and it really shows in Reanimal. In terms of gameplay, it's very Little Nightmares again. Very much the same kind of gameplay that we've come to expect from this studio. There's a lot more of a focus on the co-op aspect of the game, which leads to some interesting, but I think also quite strange gameplay decisions. There's really not a lot of like puzzle solving in this game, a lot less than I would have actually expected in a game like this, which leads me to the combat. It's a lot more fast-paced, it's a lot easier, but I think as a result it ruins the tension for me quite a bit. Throughout a large portion of the game you get a crowbar that can be used for like really quick attacks, but I think as a result it feels a little bit arbitrary, a little bit like they're filling in a combat like quota that they need, that doesn't really feel as thought out as in, let's say, in Little Nightmares 2, where the attack is like a wind-up attack that you have to time with the attacks of the enemies. So they have a wind-up attack and so do you, and so you have to time it well enough so that when they jump at you, you're able to hit them just as they jump. And it takes some getting used to, but it leads to a lot of tension and a lot of stress because you're having to like run around, you're being chased, and you need to stop and time an attack well enough for an enemy to jump at you. So it adds this tension of the timing. Whereas here, especially in the Sand City chapter of the game, you're just like going for it. You're just like rapidly attacking all of these enemies at once, and they go down in like a couple hits. And it doesn't really feel tense at all. It feels like, okay, I'm just running around just mashing X wherever I go. And you can get like jumped on, but your companion really quickly can like come to your aid and get them off in the same way that you can come to their aid as well. And I just found it a little bit of a strange choice to have in a game that really tries to fill in tension wherever it goes, or wherever you go more specifically. It feels like a bit of an odd choice to all of a sudden have the combat be really easy and really quite forgiving. And I feel the same way also about the harpoon sections as well in the boat, where enemies go down in one hit when they're chasing you. In previous games, it kind of feels like the game would choose to have you be chased in those sections rather than you being able to fight back, especially when you throw a harpoon, they go down in one hit. The only real level of tension I would say is that like you need to equip the harpoon before being able to throw it, but even then equipping it takes like less than a second. So once you start getting chased, you can just pick up a harpoon, chuck it, and then there we go. It's like sort of job done. It just feels a little bit like tacked on. It doesn't really feel that thought out or really that detailed. I feel like if they were to have added it, I would have expected them to have added another element to the combat to make it more tense or to make it a little bit scarier. But it feels just a bit too easy. Fortunately, these combat sections do not last long at all. So that's sort of the saving grace for it. But in the sections where they do appear, I would have preferred maybe for it to have added a little bit more challenge. Now, in terms of the puzzle solving, again, there aren't really that many elements of it, and even when they do appear, they don't involve really that many co-op parts. In fact, at the beginning of the game, you get a prompt where, like, let's say if you're playing solo, you can ask your companion to go and interact with a certain button on like a part of the map while you do something else. That doesn't really appear anywhere else in the game. The only other time where I feel like you could have done it is with the big gun, with the cannon section, but even then you don't have to call on your companion to do it. When I did it myself, I took the shell over to the gun, interacted with the gun itself, put the shell down and opened the hatch, and my companion just came over and put the shell in, and then there we go, that was it. So even then it wasn't like necessary, you didn't have to use that function, and even if you did, that would have been twice where this gameplay function is used in the game, and I just found that like it would have been more interesting if there were more puzzle sections where that would have been required. So it feels like a bit of an odd inclusion to the game where you really have to use it potentially twice, and even in one of those occasions you don't have to. So yeah, odd for sure. Not bad, and it doesn't ruin the experience of the game at all, but I think I would have wanted a little bit more out of that part of it specifically. I think it also would have added a lot more of a variety to the game. Not variety that was necessarily needed, but I think something that would have made for a much more interesting inclusion to the overall experience. And to end on more of a high note, the visuals and the sound design are just incredible. It has this really realistic feel that almost a bit too realistic in a sense of it has this ability to emulate fears that you have as a child in the real world in ways that feel so real. And I think a part of that really comes from the sound design as well as the visuals. Everything creaks and squelches and feels so gross. As Captain Christian said in his video about Studio Ghibli, the whole idea of sound adding texture to animation, it really adds like the texture. It's the foundation really of this game is the sound design, and it's just incredible. I think it really shines in essentially the whole game, but for me personally, I really felt it during one of the final sections of the game, the sort of World War I setting, which I will say is likely the most harrowing part of the game for me. I was so distraught playing that. I really, like, out of all of the games, Little Nightmares 1, Little Nightmares 2, and Reanimal, of all the games, this was the part that disturbed me the most. I think it was really just the idea of these soldiers trying to kill these children with grenades. There's something about that really, really disturbed me. And for them to be crawling towards them and the clicking of the grenades with the explosions following them disturbed me to my core. It genuinely really, really freaked me out. Yeah, it was tough. It was genuinely really tough to get through on my first try. I'm not sure I'm sure I have this footage. I'll try and show it, but of the first time I played through the game and I got through that section, I remember pausing the game afterwards because I needed a break. I needed a second because I was so distraught, and it was really the sound design that really messed me up. Trying to get through that section. So, oh my god, the sound is so unbelievable in this game. So really hats off to them for the sound design and really for everything else that this game offers. Reanimal is an amazing game that, as always, is just so well designed, with all of the tiny details that we've come to expect from Tarsier, really. Even with the criticisms that I have, they're so minor that they're basically nitpicks essentially, because they're things that I wish were done a little bit differently, but they don't ruin the experience at all. I really love this game, and yeah, this is my favorite genre of games, I think, at this point. But this is just another entry in a genre that I think is amazing, and that Tarsier Studios have really truly mastered at this point, and really truly an incredible experience, one that I cannot recommend enough. It's so well done, it's so well designed in every single way, and whether you play solo or co-op, you really should play this game. And I understand that the season pass might be a bit controversial for certain people. I do understand that, because it really should be something that, like, you know, potentially should have been part of the main game. I understand there's certain arguments for that. But regardless, I think the main game should just be played. Go and play it. Amazing game. I'm not going to give it a number score, but yeah, I would just say that it's really incredible. And yeah, let me know what you think of this new video style. I'm still planning on making scripted, really structured video essays as well, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to try something a little bit different here with this kind of review. I just wanted to try a different style, so yeah, let me know what you think, and yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.